Alright, you guys. I'd like to start off by saying Shabbat Shalom. Hope everybody's evening is going well so far. I'd like to thank Brother CJ for tuning in with us to read for tonight. Tonight's lesson we're going to go over Ezekiel 37. Can these bones live? Will be the title. We're just going to give some information on the dry bones. Hold on for a second. Yeah, hello? Hello? Yeah, hello? Not for sure if that was Brother James trying to tune in. I couldn't hear him. That's the only reason why I answered that. Y'all know I usually don't answer calls like that. But Brother James having a hard time getting online, so he was going to call in. Alright, tonight's lesson is called Can These Bones Live? For anybody, if you want to, you can. I'm going to open the screen just to show you guys something. So if you want to open your screen up and go to the screen, I'm going to open the screen for you guys. For anybody that wants to see what I'm going to play on the screen. Okay, but other than that, I'll open it up for some news. Go ahead and squeeze in here so you can be in there. Anybody have any news they would like to share? I mean, I want to get right to the lesson. So if nobody has much news, I won't be mad at all. We only have about 9 people in attendance. I'm pretty sure more people will start getting on here in the next, as time goes on. Alright. Anybody in the room have anything they would like to share? No? Anybody online? Okay, if not, then I'll go ahead and we'll just get to the precepts. Let's go to Ezekiel 37. We'll start off in verse 1.
Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 1. Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 1. And the hand of the Most High was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Most High, the highest, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Most High Power, thou knowest.
So he starts off and says he was in a valley, and in this valley it was full of bones. And the bones that was in the valley were very dry. So the question of the night is, the question that the Most High asks Ezekiel, he says, can these bones live? And Ezekiel answered and said, thou knowest they can. So that's the question of the night. Can these bones live? Because a lot of dry bones are out there, like you said, in the valley. And we're going to break down who these dry bones are today. Alright. The dry bones are the people that are still asleep. People that's been at that slumber party their whole life. You know, when you got the slumber party, you sleeping over, you got the bag. I've been talking about that a lot. And you ain't left the house, y'all just party and party, you didn't dry it out. You need to get out of there, wake up, and get new life put in you. So we'll break down who the dry bones is. Let's go to John 5:19. And when you when a lot of people read Ezekiel 37, they don't realize who the dry bones is. Also because of the doctrine that's being pushed out there through the different religions and different things like that. A lot of people are confused. So a lot of people don't even know who Israel is. So when you're speaking of these dry bones, people can't comprehend who the dry bones are speaking of, because everybody is in a stage of lack of knowledge when it comes to who Israel is. Okay? Go ahead.
John chapter 5 verse 19. Then answered Yeshua and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. For the Father loveth the Son, and sheweth him all things that himself doeth.
So it says that the Father shows the Son how to do everything like he does it. That's what verse 19 says, that whatever the Father doeth, the Son also does likewise. And the Father shows him how to do these things. Finish that out.
And he will shew him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. For as the Father raiseth up the dead and quaketh them, even so the Son quaketh whom he will.
Quicken it. So he says quicken it. So if the Father raises up the dead and quicketh them, and so the Son quicken it whom he will. Break out on the word quicken it.
Quicken it.
Yeah.
G 22:27. Vitalize. Make
give him the Hebrew word.
Oh, sorry.
You got it. Yep.
Zupoyo. And that's Zoopoio. Zupoyo. From the same as G22:26 and G41:60. Vitalize literally or figuratively.
So vitalize means to make alive, give life. So quicken it means make alive. So it says, for as the Father raises up the dead and quickeneth them, even so the Son quickeneth whom he will. Okay? So many people are dead in the spirit. So these dry bones that's been speaking of, you have to go through the Messiah. You have to go through the Messiah. So these dry bones that it's speaking of, you have to go through the Messiah to be revitalized. That's the only way the dry bones that we're speaking of tonight. So the question is, can these bones live? Yeah, they can. How can they be revived? Through the Messiah. And I say the word Messiah. The word Messiah is the same as Christ, but I use the real term that should be getting used. That's why. So if somebody's watching this video and they hear me say the Messiah, don't get thrown off. The Messiah just means Christ. Let's go to John 1:47. Well, not 1:47. Hold on. John 1:40, so I can show you. John 1:41, so I can show you why I'm using the word Messiah. Okay, we'll go into it really quick.
St. John chapter 1 verse 41. He first findeth his own brother Simon, and saith unto him, We have found the Messiah, which is being interpreted the Christ.
So his name is the Messiah. But in the New Testament, they substituted the Messiah and used the word Christ. That's what they interpreted it. Okay? So the Messiah is the Hebrew word for anointed one, and Christ is the Greek word for anointed one. Let's go to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel 9:25. So I can show you real quick the Hebrew word for Messiah in the Old Testament. Daniel 9:25.
Daniel chapter 9 verse 25. Now therefore, and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall even the troublous times.
So Daniel 9:25 calls him the Messiah. And that's the Hebrew Messiah, which means anointed one. And right here, Daniel is talking about, he's prophesying on the end times. All right, how do we know that? Last one on this, and then we'll get back to the lesson. Let's go to Matthew 24:15. So this is how you can confirm that the Messiah is the correct word to be using. And there's nothing wrong with it. So if you hear me use the word Messiah, it's nothing, actually it's the word you should be using over Christ. But I'm not here to tell you that using the word Christ is wrong. Okay? Go ahead.
St. Matthew 24 verse 15. When ye shall therefore, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of the desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand.
All right. So it tells you right here that the Messiah is telling you that the prophecy of Daniel, let him read that, and whoever read it, all right, whoever so read it, let him understand. But it's talking about the abominations and things that's happening in the old times. If you read Matthew 24, the Messiah right here is telling the disciples about the signs and things that's going to have to come to pass when in order for him to come back. Okay, so that's what was being spoken of right there. Okay. All right, let's get back to the precepts. Let's go to Genesis. Hold on for a second. All right. Let's go to Genesis 49:8. So the Messiah, he is the one that's going to make you alive again. He's going to wake these bones up. And how do I know this? I'm living proof. I was one of these dry bones a few years ago, but I've been revitalized through finding the Messiah. Okay, but in this vision, the dry bones represents. All right, so in this vision that Ezekiel is seeing, the dry bones represents the ruin and desperate state of Judah and Israel. Okay, and we're going to get to that to show you that this is what Ezekiel 37 is speaking of. It's the vision of the ruined and desperate state of Judah and Israel. All right, and then the ends talks about reviving of the bones. So let's break down who Judah is. So since Ezekiel 37 is speaking of the desperate state of Judah and Israel, we got to break down Judah first on a few precepts. We have Genesis 49:8.
Genesis chapter 49 verse 8. Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. So it says, thy father's children shall bow down before thee. So that's the key to Judah. All right, and we're going to break that down, why that's the key. Your father's children, so everybody else is going to bow down to Judah. Okay? But the first part says, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. So that the praise part and the father's children shall bow down to you are the same thing. Okay? But the middle part of this says, thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. What does that mean? So it's saying like your hand, Judah's hand, the enemy's neck is going to be in Judah's hand. What does that mean? Judah is always going to be kept close to the enemy. Okay? The enemy keeps a massive eye on Judah to make sure they know what's going on with him. So like for today's example, Judah is the so-called Negroes, so-called African Americans. Why does the so-called white man have Judah so close to him? Slavery, everything Judah does, the so-called white man controls. He has a control over Judah like no other race in this world. Okay? He keeps, it's like it says, keep your enemies close, right? So
Esau keeps Judah very close out of everybody else. So that's what it means. Thy hand shall be in the neck of the enemies. They're going to be real close. Everywhere you go, the enemy going to be right there, Judah. You can't even breathe. All right? But they got to watch your every move to keep Judah crouched down. All right? And as long as they keep Judah crouched down, they got to keep control over Judah, because they know Judah, once Judah gets roared up, it gets everybody else roared up. Who else gets everybody else roared up? Like right now, you got everybody in the street in every state right now because of what's happened to these Judah boys over this summer. So the moment Judah gets out there and start rallying, everybody, Issachar, so-called whites, everybody start coming out there. But let a so-called Issachar, which is Mexican, something happen and he starts rallying downtown. That's going to last for 2 days, because ain't nobody going to merge with him and watch that happen. Everybody like, he tripping. Judah ain't going to go out there and start marching with him. So-called white man sure ain't. But Judah, once Judah get up, once Judah raise up, they say, hey, we up. People start rallying with Judah, because Judah, that's who Judah is. Okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. So the enemy keeps Judah close, so they can keep their foot on Judah's neck. So they can keep their foot on Judah's neck, so Judah can't rouse up. So that's why they keep them so close. Okay? So let's break down who Judah is. Deuteronomy 28 and 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way thereof I spoke unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
So Deuteronomy 28:68 says, the Most High shall bring you into Egypt again. The word Egypt means bondage. So the Most High shall bring you into bondage again. What was the first? The first bondage is when you was under the hands of Pharaoh. But he says, I'm going to put y'all, I took y'all from under the hands of Pharaoh. Y'all didn't appreciate it. So now I'm going to put y'all in bondage again. And this time, I'm going to take you into bondage on ships. Who went into slavery on ships? That's simple to figure out who that's talking about. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. So once the ship takes you into bondage, you're not going to see the ship again. It's not going to come back and get you. You're there. You're stuck. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Bondmen and bondwomen, if you look at the history of the stock market in America, slaves, your so-called Negroes for sale was the first thing on the stock market. Bondmen, bondwomen. They're selling you off. And once they sold you off, nobody was coming to buy you back. Okay? That's simple to figure out. That's talking about a specific group of people. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. So now that we know this group that's being spoken of in Deuteronomy was taken, but this Deuteronomy doesn't just speak of Judah. Deuteronomy, when you read it all the way through, it speaks of the trials and tribulations of all Israel. But right now where I'm speaking to you at is speaking of the trials and tribulations of Judah. Okay? That's what Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
So it says, you shall serve your enemies that the Most High shall send against you. And not only are you going to serve them in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and want of all things, that means that anything you need, you're going to have to go to the enemy. You're going to have to ask master for food. You're going to have to ask master for something to drink. Master, I need a shirt. My shirt tore. You can't just go get your own shirt, so you have to go to master. Read the rest of it.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee.
Who had a yoke of iron upon their neck? Alright. Skip down to 64. There's just too many pictures that you can research right now. The yoke of iron, and watch where it take you to. It's simple, you guys. 64.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 64. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even until the other. and therefore shall serve no other God. And there thou shalt serve other gods, Salaki, which thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So it says he's going to have you serve other gods. He's going to scatter you from one end of the earth to the other. What does that mean? I'm going to take you all the way from Jerusalem and scatter you all the way to America. That's what scattering from one end of the earth to the other is. That's a far journey from home. Jerusalem to America, that's a far journey from home. And he says, and not only once you get to America, you're going to serve wood and stone, which is wood is your Christian religion, and stone is the Kaaba, which is what the Muslims worship. Okay, the rock. All right, but he says your fathers, they didn't know about these different religions, so why are y'all worshiping them? All right, go back to Genesis 49:9. But this is the whole reason why he scattered Judah and Israel, because Judah and Israel wasn't listening to him. They was already starting to follow other gods and things like that. So he's like, y'all ain't gonna just sit here and disrespect me like that. You ain't gonna just keep sitting up in Jerusalem following these other guys and I ain't gonna say nothing about it. I got to get rid of y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's like you living in your father's house right now and you 13 years old, but you follow everything your coach says do. And you get home, your dad say, hey boy, didn't I tell you what my coach said? After too many of my coach said, dad gonna be like, you got to go ahead and go live with coach then. You know what I mean? I don't care if he do live in Tucson and we live in Phoenix. You got to go. I don't care if it is a far journey. 49:9.
Genesis chapter 49 verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rose him up. So Judah is a lion's whelp. The lion, he's the king of the beast, the lion's whelp. So Judah is the king of the beast. You know, the terror of the forest. So like I said earlier, when Judah roars and when Judah sees his prey, so when Judah roars, when Judah sees his prey, get out the way. All right, once he locks in on the prey, who gonna get away? Nobody gonna get away. All right, so he's like a lion's whelp. Okay, he's the king. But like I said earlier, he's snooped down, he's couched. All right, but also too, you have to understand, while Judah's couched, even though they got their foot on their neck and Judah's couched and he's stalking the prey. So the moment Judah starts realizing who he is, he's stalking the prey to why he's couched down. You know what I'm saying? But right now they have you couched down and you're as a old lion almost. An old lion is lazy, right? An old lion, he not as active. So right now Judah is like an old lion. But the question is, who shall rouse him up? So who's going to make Judah angry enough to say, hey, enough is enough. Let's go. Nobody ain't done it yet, and that's what we're doing. We're starting to wake up and we see what's going on, and we still couched down. We still ain't attacked the prey yet because we smart about it. He got us smart, but when we attack, it's going to be rough. And we already starting to get vicious spiritually because we in these scripts. So Judah, he ready. He on the prey. We learning that we ain't African Americans no more. We starting to learn this truth. And this is what they're trying to hide us from. That's why the enemy, that's why we're in his neck. That's why his neck is right here to keep us close to stop finding this information. 1 Chronicles 5:1. So I know sometimes you feel invincible. Now that you've been in this truth for a while, especially once you're in the truth for a couple of years, a few years, you feel like, man, you can't even, Mr. Police, you best to be careful pulling me over. I'm the wrong man to pull over right now, for real. You just feel special. And that's how it is once you start finding the truth and finding out who you are. You know, so that's the spirit working in you. All right. But who's going to rouse him up? Who's going to wake him up? Who's going to make him get upset enough to say, hey, enough is enough. It's time to take these dudes down. All right. But I'm talking about a spiritual battle. I'm not talking about flesh. I'm not talking about Judah. Let's come together and let's go gang up on people and start beating people down. That's not what I'm talking about. Go ahead. 1 Chronicles chapter 5 verse 1. Now the sons of Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, for he was the firstborn, but for as much as he defiled his father's bed, his birthright was given unto the sons of Joseph and the son of Israel. And the genealogy is not reckoned after the birthright.
So Reuben is the firstborn of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. But since he defiled his father's bed and slept with his father's wife, he lost his birthright to Joseph. Okay? Because usually when you're the firstborn of the family, you're in charge. Once the father go out, you're the next one in line. But Reuben lost his birthright to Joseph. Read verse 2.
For Judah prevailed above his brethren, and he came the chief ruler. But the birthright was Joseph.
So the birthright was Joseph, but Judah became the chief ruler. So since Reuben defiled his father's bed, he's no longer the chief ruler. Once Israel dies off, once Jacob dies, Reuben's not the chief ruler. Judah is. Judah's the chief ruler, and then Joseph gets the birthright. Okay, let's go to Micaiah 5:1. So let's find out how Judah. So Judah is the chief ruler of the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, but we're going to break down all the way to the point to what it's really talking about there. Okay, and Judah. When y'all find out who Judah truly is, because a lot of people that's seeing this for the first time, I'm gonna give you some information on who Judah is, and when you find out, you're gonna say, "Wow, how is this possible? How are they in charge? How is it that they are the chief ruler?" Go ahead.
Micah chapter 5 verse 1.
Micaiah
chapter 5 verse 1. Now gather thyself in truth, O daughter of truth. He hath laid siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon his cheek.
So just like Daniel was prophesying in Daniel 9:25 when he was prophesying about the end of times, Micaiah right here is also prophesying in the same form. All right, and he said, and he had laid a siege against us. They shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon his cheek. Who's the judge of Israel? Verse 2.
But thou Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little among thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is the ruler of Israel, whose going forth hath been from of old, from of everlasting.
So it tells you right here. Did you find it, brother? Or it's right after Amos, Obadiah, in that area. Okay, but in verse 2 it says, and though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, so it's talking about the tribe of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler of Israel. So the ruler of Israel, the judge of Israel, is coming out of Judah. It's talking about the Messiah. The Messiah is coming from Judah. So that's why all these precepts we've read so far saying the gathering of the people shall come from Judah and things like that is talking about the Messiah. The Messiah is coming from Judah. Okay? Let's go back. Genesis 49:10. So that's what it's talking about when these precepts we're reading. But yeah, it's also still spiritually to this day, now that the Messiah has been taken out, the Spirit is still residing in Judah to gather the people. But that's why in the beginning of these, we reading all these, and they're saying, your father's children shall bow down to thee. Of course, nobody ain't going to come bowing down to Ed. You remember when we read that in Genesis 49:8? It says, your brothers will praise you, and your father's children shall bow down before thee. It's talking about the Messiah because he's coming through the tribe of Judah. He was Judah. Okay? But the Spirit is still there now that he's taken out, like I said, to where the teaching level, which he planted there, is what needs to still come. Okay, verse 10.
Genesis chapter 49, verse 10. And the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So
Christ, so the Messiah already started that. The Messiah, when he came, a lot of people didn't gather to the Messiah. You have to understand that when the Messiah walked the earth, they didn't believe. The true Jews didn't even gather to him. They set him up. So the gathering of the people comes through us. The spirit of Judah that still resides in this earth. The gathering of the people come through what we're doing right now, teaching people and going out, gathering people, let them know, hey, let's go. You're 12 tribes. Hey, let's go. This is this. This is that. Okay? But the people bowing down, we bow down to who? The Messiah. Okay? So when you put it all together, now it makes sense. Okay, well, the bowing down part is talking about the whole world bowing down to the Messiah, but the gathering of the people, which is the spirit that's left behind until the day of Shiloh, is the gathering of the people. Okay? Let's go to Matthew 2 and 4. But, you know, talking about the Messiah, the Romans knew this. The Romans knew that the Messiah was coming to be the ruler of the people, the ruler of Israel. So that's why they was waiting to kill him. They was waiting on him. Where did the star fall? Where is it at? Let's get him. They was already waiting to get him. Okay? So the same today, the government, so the same way how they was waiting on the Messiah to come, they was waiting to take him out because they knew he was the ruler that was going to come and change all this. So the same today, the government keeps Judah close. Like we were saying earlier, they keep Judah close because they know Judah is the ones that's going to be the ones that's going to raise the spirit back up and bring the people back together and teach people, hey, you're from the 12 tribes of Israel. Hey, the Messiah is black. Hey, his name is Ahiah Shahaiah. Hey, the Messiah's name is Yeshua. We started to teach the truth, and they know that, so that's why they keep us close to make sure we don't start gathering the people. 5 and 2. Matthew 5 and 2. I mean, not 5 and 2. 2 and 4. Matthew 2 and 4.
Matthew chapter 2, verse 4. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and the scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Yeshua should be born.
So he says, hey, he got all the chief priests and all the scribes. We know the scribes is the government. Remember the lesson we did on scribes and Pharisees? The word scribes is your government. So he gathered all the priests and the scribes together and demanded, where's the Messiah going to be born? We want to be there when he's born so we can take him out right now. We don't even want him to suck on nothing. We don't want him to take his first feeding. We're going to get him. Verse 5.
And they said unto him, in Bethlehem and Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet.
So and then we just read that in Micaiah. So it's the prophet. It was written in the prophet where he's going to be born. Didn't Micaiah just tell us that he was going to be in Bethlehem? Go ahead.
And thou Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of these shall come a governor, and shall rule my people of Israel.
So it's the same prophecy almost what we just read in Micaiah, but just kind of turned around a little. Okay? And it says he's going to be the governor who shall come and rule the people. Let's go to Hebrews 7 and 14. So Micaiah says, but thou Bethlehem, Ephraite, though thou be little among the 1,000 of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be the ruler of Israel, whose going forth has been from everlasting. So Micaiah kind of says the same things, but just in different words. Hebrews 7 and 14.
Hebrews chapter 7 verse 14. For it is evident that our most high power sprang out of Judah, and which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood.
So it tells you right here, it's evident that the Messiah came from the tribe of Judah. He sprang from the tribe of Judah, of which the tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And all that means is when Moses gave the priesthood to the Levites, he didn't speak nothing of the tribe of Judah getting the priesthood also. Because once Christ came, once the Most High came, once the Messiah came, he got the priesthood also under the order of Melchizedek. Okay, so that's what that's speaking of. Let's go to the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. That's the last thing we're going to show on this. Here, go to Ham. So we go to the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. And we're going to go under Ham. Now Ham is the youngest son of Noah. You have Shem, Japheth, and Ham. Okay? But in the Christian churches teach their congregation that they are from Ham. Okay? And that's why the Christian doctrine is all the way off. Just right there in Genesis 10. Because in Genesis 9, Ham's seed got cursed. It tells you that Canaan will be cursed through the seed of Ham because of Ham seeing the nakedness of Noah and not covering him up. So Ham was cursed. So through the Christian doctrine, they are taught that they are Ham. So all these Christian teachers are teaching the congregation that the so-called African Americans are Ham. And that's where they go wrong at. They go wrong really early in the Bible. So until they can correct that we're not Ham, they'll never get this correct. Break it down. Let them know where you at.
I'm in Ham in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
Okay, so it says Ham is the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. And we all know the word Negroes didn't really start getting used until you got to America, Negroes for sale. So that right there tells you who the Negroes are, the African Americans. But it tells you Ham is the progenitor of all the dark races except the Negroes, which is your so-called African Americans. But he is the progenitor of who? Read it again.
Of the Ethiopians, Egyptians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
Those are all Hamitic with your African families. Okay? So that lets you know that the people that are in America, the so-called African Americans, are not Africans. Okay, something's wrong. Go to Jeremiah 14:2. So now that we know the so-called African Americans are not African, we just named out the 4 African families, and it says that the Negroes are not part of that. And this is a reliable source that we're reading from, the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Okay, we got to get that part right now. Jeremiah 14:2.
Jeremiah chapter 14 verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and they cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
So Jeremiah 14:2 tells you right here, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof language. They are black unto the ground. So it tells you that the tribe of Judah is black. So now we just got to the bottom of African Americans are not Africans. Okay, they're the so-called Negroes, which is Judah, which is the same tribe the Messiah came out of. All right, let's get back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 37:4. So now that we know who Judah is, now let's break down the rest of this chapter real fast. Because you remember, the question is, can these dry bones live? But the vision of Ezekiel 37 represents the ruin and the desperate state of Judah and Israel. Okay, Judah, that's why anytime when you read the Bible, it'll always say a lot of times Judah and Israel. You'll see Israel a lot, but a lot of times you'll see Judah and Israel, and that's why I went into Judah like I did to show you why the name Judah always sticks out first and then Israel. Okay, because the Messiah came from Judah. All right.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 4. And again he said unto me, prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Most High Power.
So prophesy unto these bones and tell these bones to hear the word of the Most High. The word is the Messiah. Okay, so when you say, well, he says hear the word is the Messiah. So that's why I said in order for you to be revitalized, you have to find the Messiah. And let's go to Revelations 19:3. That's the only way you're going to be revitalized, these dry bones. Miss all these dry bones in the valley. The only way you're going to be revitalized, you have to find the Messiah. But let me tell you a secret. You can't go find white Jesus and think you're going to get revitalized. You're going to rotten out. If you're already dry and you go start following white Jesus, then you're just going to decapitate. It ain't going to be, you doing the opposite of revitalizing. You have to find the truth. That's why I'm going through this. Dry bones, if you want to become undry, you have to find the truth, the real truth. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 19, verse 3.
13.
Oh, chapter 13.
No. Chapter 19, verse 13. Maybe I said, did I say it wrong?
Yeah, 3 is right. Revelation chapter 19, verse 13. And he was clothed with vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High Power.
So it's talking about the Messiah. When you read the rest of this upward, to get clarification that it's talking about the Messiah, it says, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. So Judah and Israel don't want to listen to his word. They don't want to follow. Okay, that's why Judah and Israel is in the desperate state that they in. That's why they're dry bones, because they don't want to. This word that I'm talking about, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it at all. You guys go to Ezekiel 2 and 3. That's why right now when you wake up to the truth and you start trying to go tell people, hey man, I found some stuff, man, and you try to show them, hey, Deuteronomy 28:68 is talking about us. Man, I don't want to hear that. Who told you that, man? You showing it to them and they still don't want to hear it. Like, what you mean? That's talking about us. No, it ain't. We him. We ain't nowhere in Deuteronomy. It's 30, Ezekiel 2 and 3.
Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me.
So he says, Son of man, I'm going to send you to the children of Israel, who is a rebellious nation. They have rebelled against me. This is why he's put us in this ruined state. This is why our bones are dry, because we rebelled against him. Go ahead.
They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even until this very day.
Even until this very day. It's not talking about old times. He says until this very day, the day we still live in of today. Go ahead.
For they are impudent, children of stiff-hearted, and I send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Power.
It says they are stiff-hearted people, stiff-necked. Go ahead.
And they, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear, for they are rebellious. For they are a rebellious house. Yet shall, now that they have been a prophet among them.
So it says, even though they might not hear you, okay, but they will at least know that it was some prophet among them. They're going to know somebody was among them speaking them words. So just like a lot of my friends and family, they don't want to hear what I'm saying, but you best to believe every time they come around, they're going to be like, man, Ed was at it again. They're going to know I was around. They're like, man, that dude always, so the same here. Even though they don't want to hear it, that don't mean just because they don't want to hear it, you shut up when you get around them. That's what a lot of people do. They get around friends and family and they try to talk to them about the word a couple of times, and friends and family shoo them up, and like they start talking mess to them and calling you, telling you in a cult. So now the next time you come around, you stop talking about the word. And guess what happens once you stop talking about the word? Now you start mingling with them and start doing what they do. They sitting there gossiping about stuff. Now you start, yeah, you can say you're sitting there. But if you come in and you stick to who you are and preach that word and hit them in the mouth, now your spirit don't ever have a time to get invited into their world. So that's why you have to continue to speak. No matter where you at and who you around, I don't care if it's the 10th time, you found a different way to bring it. So if you took it to them the last time like this, the next time you might have to take it like this. I heard the brother say earlier, hey, you might be trying to chop them up the sword. You might have to turn it around and get them with the handle now. So you got to keep going at them. Don't give up. Okay? Read the rest of it. Verse 6.
Verse 6. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words.
Those words I was just talking about. He says, when you go talk to them, don't get afraid of them, because they're going to start talking smack to you. They're going to start telling you tripping. Who told you that was that? Who you following? Is y'all a cult? They're going to start calling you all kind of names. Don't be afraid of it. Keep doing it. Go ahead.
Though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest well, dwell among scorpions, be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house.
So when you go try to teach your own people, they're going to look at you stupid. They're going to disown you. They ain't want to have nothing to do with you. But the thing is, you can come, you can be in the streets, clubbing every week, and then you can come home and come to mom and say, Mom, I'm a Muslim. I found something. Honey, we glad you out of them streets. Mom, I'm a Catholic. I've been going to church with my girlfriend. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Hey, Mom, I found the truth. Bible say we Israel from the 12 tribes. Who told you that? What you mean, Mom? Hey, it's right here in the Bible. Oh, you in a group or something? You in the code? I need to, hey, call your dad. Hey, I think something wrong with him. Yeah, he talking this crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait, what's going on here? You start showing them the truth. Yeah, they start talking real bad about you. You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to hear the truth, you guys. They like actually being the dry bones. So that's why the whole storyline, he says, can these bones live? Because the Most High is going to Ezekiel saying, hey, can they even live? Is there a chance? I done already sent you to them. See, in verse 2, I sent Ezekiel to talk to the rebellious nation. Now in verse 37, he says, hey, man, are we wasting our time here? You've been talking to this rebellious nation for a while now. Is there a possible chance they can live? And Ezekiel, like, I can get some of them. It's working. I can get some of them. So like us, you're going to go to a lot of people. You ain't going to get them. But at least know, hey, if I got 1 out of 10, that's cool. So it's the same with Ezekiel. Ezekiel's like, I know they imputed, but the question of the day is, can they live? And Ezekiel, like, they surely can. Let me keep prophesying in the wind. Okay? So let me, I'm going to play this clip for you guys real fast. Because they have you following, like I say, the white Jesus. And as long as you following the white Jesus, it's taking everybody to destruction. That's just real talk. You can't wake up if you're following false lies. So you have to sooner or later say, I got to get rid of all false lies and wake up to the truth. But the thing is, the government knows the truth. And like I said earlier, and I'm going to open my line up real quick. Like I said earlier, I was going to open the line to show this clip. So I'm going to open it up for a second. Alright, it's open for anybody that wants to get on. I'm going to show this clip. Anybody else, maybe y'all can hear it as I play it. But like I say, they know the truth. They want you to continue to follow the wrong thing and go to destruction. Can you see that, brother? Is that on? Okay. I'm turning the sound up right now.
Well, I hope the space lab is out of the way because I am just about to go into orbit. I don't have to ask who hung this here, Michael Evans, but before I hang you in its place, why?
Mama, it's just a symbol of Jesus.
Well, hello, symbol, and goodbye.
JJ painted him.
Don't think of me, Michael. I had him in the closet. We wasn't performing no miracles for nobody.
Mama, couldn't we at least let Black Jesus hang alongside?
Forget it. The only Jesus I know is him, and the one thing he don't need is a partner.
Mama, how do we know Jesus wasn't black? He could have been from the lost tribe of Israel. They were supposed to be black.
I bet they were. If ever people were lost, we're it.
So y'all see the mockery? It's been around. Hollywood knows the truth. JJ said, I had him in the closet where he was performing no miracles. So that was good time. They hung up a black Jesus, and the mom came in and said, who is this? And he was like, Mom, that's a black Jesus. And she's like, I don't know who that is. Take him down. Put white Jesus back up. And then he was like, well, JJ the one. And JJ's like, hey, I had him in the closet to where he wasn't performing no miracles. Because they know once we start following the right person, all the miracles, the Messiah is going to let these miracles hit the earth. But right now, they're keeping back the powers of the Messiah because people are following white Jesus. But if you put the black Messiah up and people start following him, now the power of the earth is going to take Satan out. And they know that. So Hollywood has been mocking us for a long time. It's a mockery to them. It's so many shows. I got Fred Sanford where he's laughing about himself being a Jew. Somebody trying to tell him he's Jew. He's like, no, I'm not. It's just crazy. Ezekiel 37:5. So I just wanted to play that clip to show you that our people, they don't want this truth. They don't want the black Messiah. They love the white Jesus. Okay, that's what they've been taught their whole life. Ezekiel 37:5. What is that? Yeah, no, I'm not 37:5. Yep.
Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 5. Thus saith the Most High Power, unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
Go ahead, speak a little louder.
And I will lay sinews upon you, and
sinews is like tendons. All right, so you know how you got the tendons in your bones and your flesh and stuff. That's what the sinews is. Go ahead.
And will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Most High Power. So I prophesied, and as I was commanded, and as I was prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone.
So he's telling you, so Ezekiel already, the question was, can these bones live? Ezekiel said, yeah. So now the Most High is starting to show Ezekiel through prophecy what he has to do to bring these bones together. So this is what we have to do. You have to be patient and be like Ezekiel so he can give you the vision on how to bring somebody into this truth. Go ahead.
And when I beheld, lo, the sinews of the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them.
So there was still no breath in them. So even though, so the sinew and the flesh and the bones came together, so that's talking about it's already there. It's already put together. So when you go to somebody, it's already there. Okay? So these dry bones that's in the valley, he's put them back together to where now there's only one thing that needs to be done in order for breath to be put on them. Let's find out what we got to do. 39. 9, I mean.
37, verse 9. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say unto the wind, thus saith the Most High, come from the four winds, O breathe, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live.
So the bones came together, this flesh came together, but there was still no breath in them. So that's kind of like the people, when you go talk to your friends and family, yeah, they are there, they're put together, but there's still no breath in them. They're still dry bones. But in order to wake them up, he says, son of man, prophesy into the wind. That means go speak in the wind. Go speak. Everywhere you go, you speak. It's in the wind. That's what the wind means. You don't just stay in one's corner. No, the wind is everywhere. Everywhere you go, you prophesy. And say to the wind, thus saith the Most High, come from the four winds, O breath, and breath upon these shall these slain may live. So once you prophesy in the wind and you start telling people who they are, you start teaching them the truth, showing them in the Bible, this is who you are. All right, the history that they taught you is wrong. Show me about the holidays. When you start showing them in the wind and teaching people who they are and teaching them the truth, now the breath will enter into them to where they can start living. You see how it works? Ephesians 5 and 14. So that's how you enter the breath into other people, is by prophesying. You have to go speak. Okay, so if you have a friend and you kind of got them on the hook, and that's how you bring them together. Every time you see them, you're talking to them, and you slowly but surely hooking them and bringing them in. That's bringing them bones together, and that sinew, everything's starting to come together. You see how it is? When you first see him, he just dry. And then the next week you see him, you hit him with a little more. And he'd be like, you know what, hey, let me take some notes on that. But he still ain't there. Then the next time you see him, he's like, hey, so now you're starting to bring everything together. And then all of a sudden you just keep going. Then you just hit him in the wind, and that breath come in him, and he good to go. 5 and 14.
Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14. Wherefore he saith, awake, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yeshua shall give thee light.
So people don't want to wake up though. It says, awake up, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead. and Christ shall give you light. The Messiah shall give you light. But people don't want to wake up. They like their ignorant ways. People have been taught to be a certain way. So when you start trying to teach them the right way, they be like, no, I like what I do. I like chasing money. I like clubbing. You know what I'm saying? I like going to church every week and paying my tithes to a false doctrine because the preacher tells me good things about myself. So they got your spirit tied up. Your spirit is tied up, especially chasing the money. That's where a lot of people's spirit is really tied up, because they're really chasing the money day in and day out to where they completely forget about the Most High. All right? But the Most High is the way. All right? And the way is the light. It says it right here. He's the light that's going to give you the breath to get back from the dead. Let's go to 2 Timothy 2:23. But people like to battle with you. You know what I'm saying? When you go talk to people, they like to battle with you. They like to ask stupid questions. They like to say stupid things. When you try to take people to truth, they like to say stupid stuff to get you out of your realm. When you start talking to somebody and you get in the groove and you saying the truth and you hit them in the mouth, then they'll bring up a stupid topic about, well, how you know the Bible true? Man, they'll start saying stupid stuff because they feel you starting to say, telling them some stuff they ain't never heard. Okay? But let's talk about these people, because the Bible says when you come across people that's unlearned, don't let it do something to you. Okay, and let's find out what it means. Go ahead.
2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 23. But foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do not gender strife.
That they do gender strife. So it says, be foolish, but foolish and unlearned questions avoid. So avoid this. All right, avoid this. And knowing that they do gender strife. So gender strife means like a battle. So when you're trying to bring the truth to people and they start asking stupid stuff, they're trying to bring you out of the true spirit and battle you and bring stupid questions in and battle you in a way to where now it kills the spirit off. That's what happens. If you're trying to speak the word to somebody and they start asking stupid stuff and y'all kind of go back and forth, now the real truth gets pushed away, and now y'all sitting there arguing about something that has nothing to do with the real truth. Read verse 24.
And the servant of the Most High must not strive.
So it said, you don't strive. You don't strive with somebody. All right? You don't strive. If somebody's battling you, you don't strive with him. You be patient. You be meek. All right? Go ahead.
But be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient, in meekness, and instructing those that oppose themselves. If the Most High peradventure will give them repentance and to the acknowledging of the truth.
So sooner or later, they're going to have to acknowledge the truth. Sooner or later, a lot of people, whether they want to or not, they are going to have to acknowledge the truth. Whether they acknowledge it from you, sooner or later, they're going to have to acknowledge it from somebody. Verse 26.
And they that may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil.
That's the only way you can recover yourselves from the devil. Why? Because the devil has everybody wrapped around the collar. Whether you realize it or not, as long as you live in this world, under Satan's world, you're wrapped around the collar until you find the truth. Until you start acknowledging this truth, he got you by the collar. Go ahead.
Who are taken captive by him at his will.
He takes you captive. You don't have no choice. And what does that mean? The moment you're born into this world, Satan already puts the collar around you. Okay? 9 and 24, Job. Job 9 and 24. So it says when you start going out and you start learning this truth and you start going out and teaching and starting to talk to people, it's going to be many people, once they see you know what you're talking about and that sword starts slicing them up, they're going to bring something stupid into the equation and start saying stupid stuff and just keep. It says, hey, if you're going to be appointed to go out there and teach, stay humble, gentle, and meek. Don't get all mad, because the moment you get mad because somebody's asking stupid questions, then it brings in a different spirit. Okay? You have to know what you're up against.
Job chapter 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
So it says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. So Satan controls the earth. Okay? So that's why it says that people are held captive by him at his will. Satan has control. That's the main reason why the Messiah is coming back, is to get control of the earth again. Okay? Because Satan has control right now at this point in time. But until the Messiah comes back, he needs these dry bones to wake up and find out who they are so they can help with the battle, which is a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual battle, whether you realize it or not. And you have to make a choice on whose side you're on. That's what Judgment Day is coming for. When he comes for Judgment Day, they're going to see who did you finally wake up and get on the right side. Ezekiel 37:10. And a lot of people, though, I don't understand it. No matter how much you go to them and show them proof, they get out of there. If you're in the room with somebody and you start showing them proof, next you know you start seeing people sliding out of. They don't even come give you dap and say I'm out of here. Then next you be like, hey, where? He done slid out of there so smooth on you. Like, dang man, I had something else to show him. You're like, well, but that's how it is though, man. They don't want it, man. And it's like, I don't get it. Because you have so many intelligent people out there that you try. Those are the first people you go to. People that you kind of know is intelligent. They do a lot of reading. And you learn the truth. You try to go to them first, and they be the main ones that's just they showing you off because they think they know it all. Well, I got my bachelor's. You know, I got my preacher's license. I know this. And we broke down that anybody with the preacher's license is a Pharisee. Ezekiel 37:10.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath that came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
So it says, hey, I prophesied in the wind as he commanded me, and the breath came into him. And once the breath came into him, so this is what happens once you wake up. Once it gets in you, they live. Now they're alive. They're no longer dead. See, until you find the truth, you're dead to the Most High. Your spirit is just dead right now. If you're following these pagan religions and these pagan holidays, you're dead to him. You're nothing. Okay? But he says, hey, I prophesied as I was commanded, and breath came into them, and they lived. And once they lived, they stood up upon their feet as a exceeding great army. Break down great.
Great. 8:14-19. Mighty.
What? Give them the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gadol. That's Gadol. Gadol. And that's means great. Hence older.
Or mighty.
Or mighty.
All right. Now give them army.
Army. H24:28. And that's going to be Shael. Shael. That's Chayil. Shael. And that's force.
So great means mighty, and army means force. So let's read it again. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceedingly great, mighty force. So it says once they got the breath in them, they became a mighty force. So this is why the enemy is the neck of them is in our hand, because they know once you wake up, you are a force to be reckoned with. Just you yourself. Just one person that wake up, they like, hey. So if you get a group of them together and they just keep growing, hey, you got a lot of problems that's about to occur. Okay? So great means mighty, army means force. So once they get that breath in them, they are a mighty force. Verse 11. That's why they don't want us to get this, y'all. That's why they don't want us to wake up and find this truth. They know it's a great deal to deal with. That's why they bringing in the martial law. That's why they preparing this, you guys. Because they know once we wake up and bring the people together, they going to have all their artillery. They ain't going to be able to just come out the street and say, hey, come down. It's too late. Who rolls them up? Who rolls them up? Who got this lion to this party? We've been having them couched down this whole time. Who didn't got this dude this upset? Now we got to bring in the troops. And the troops ain't going to be nothing. Because by the time you get all of us together, it's over. The troops ain't going to even be nothing. Verse 11.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 11. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dry, and our hope is lost. we are cut off as our part.
So Ezekiel said, all right, let me tell you who these bones are. I've been talking about them for 11 verses. These bones are the whole house of Israel, for anybody that don't know. But they say our bones are dry and our hope is lost. So your bones are already dry. Your hope is lost. You don't have no faith. We are cut off from our parts. What does that mean? Why is it saying you have no faith and you've been cut off? Because they know they've taken all the air out of you. A lot of our people, Israel, they've already taken, they put them through so much slavery. They've taken the air out of you to where you dry. Your hope is lost. You no longer have faith. So now that Israel has been in such a desperate state, and when you try to go to somebody and teach them the truth and try to teach them this, well, if I'm Israel, why do I go through this? They don't got no faith no more. Why does he put me through this then if I'm one of the chosen people? That's how they think. So they hope is lost. Well, if I'm from Israel, why did he put us in this? We been cut off. We ain't nothing. That's what they think. Breakdown cut off. But that's how a lot of people's mindset is. When you start talking to them, hey, you're part of the true people, man. The Most High got something special for you. I don't believe that.
Cut off. H1504. That's Gazar. 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 Which means to destroy, divide, exclude, or decide, decree.
So cut off means to destroy, to divide. So Israel, when they came in and they dried, this is how they dried up your bones. This is how they made hope be lost. They came in and they cut you off. They destroyed you by taking your heritage. And then they divided us. They divided us through slavery and put us in a lot of different places because they know if they would have kept us all in one place, we would have all came back together as that mighty force right now. So they had to divide Israel and put Israel in different areas. So that's why Israel is not in the same area. But they try, a lot of Israelites on the YouTube, they'll teach that Israel is all black. And Israel is all in America. No, it tells you right here, Israel is being cut off and divided into different regions. And the so-called white man did that for a reason. Like I say, you put them all in one area, they're going to start talking amongst each other and figuring out who they are. But if you divide them, they will never find out who they are. Their hope is lost. Okay? But it says, cut off means to destroy, divide, exclude, or decide. The word excludes means reject. So the word exclude is in there and it means reject. Who are the rejects of this world? Let's go to Psalms 83:1. It's simple to figure out who Israel is. Who are the rejects of this world? Everybody that are the rejects of this world is Israel. That's simple. I can just start naming them off. So-called Mexicans with Iscar, they can't even cross their own border. When you start thinking of stuff like that, that simply tells you who Israel is. How you gonna tell them they can't cross their own border? It's crazy, right? Psalms 83:1.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 1. A song or a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High.
So David is praying to the Most High and saying, please don't stay silent on this. The stuff these people did, please don't hold your peace on this. I hope you're going to do something about this. This is what David is asking here. Verse 2.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
So it says these people that hate you have made a tumult against you, which is like a loud noise, a great commotion, like war. They made war against you and your people. All right, and they've lifted up their heads against you, Ahia. So they're going against you. Go ahead.
And they consulted against the hidden ones, thy hidden ones. And they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So these people came and said, let us cut them off from being a nation. That's why when you go to somebody and try to tell them they're from Israel, they be like, no, I'm not. And that's why years ago you didn't know you was from Israel, because they cut us off from being a nation. They divided us. They divided us. They separated us. They took our heritage from us and cut us off from being who we was. To cut them off from being a nation means we took their heritage. All right? They think they're somebody else. Let's find out who did this. And it says that the name Israel will be remembered no more. So that lets you know the people that are sitting in Israel today are not the true people. Because it says the word Israel will be no more in remembrance. So if that's saying that right now we know who Israel is, because we've been taught Israel is those people over there. So it's still in remembrance. But the Bible form, what it's talking about is the true people. They're not in remembrance. Their history's been cut off. Verse 5. No, read verse 5.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are
confederate.
They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarim.
So it tells you the people that came to one consent. Verse 5 says they consulted and became one consent. And they became confederate against you. What's confederate? You see all these flags. All the flags you see for these countries, Confederate flags, especially America, and it tells you the people that did it. The tabernacle, Edom, Ishmaelites, Moab, and the Hagarenes. Let's break these people down real quick. The tabernacles, I'm going to just give y'all a few precepts on these. The tabernacles of Edom is the so-called white man. Let's go to Genesis 25 and 25. Let's go. We're going to go through this real quick just to show you these people that consulted against the people of Israel and cut them off from being a nation. So the tabernacles of Edom is the so-called white man, and I'm going to prove it to you real quick. Genesis 25 and 25.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
All right, so when you read above this, it's talking about Rebekah, who had 2 twins. And the first of the twins came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So it explained to him how he looked because he was the first of his kind. Read the next verse.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So
it explained both kids. It explained Esau, the first kid, and then it explained Jacob. But it didn't describe Jacob on how he looked. Why? Because Jacob looked like Rebekah. He looked like Isaac, his dad. He looked like Abraham. He looked like Noah. He looked like Adam. He looked like everybody before him. But it explained who Esau was in verse 25 because he was the first of his kind. He was red. All right. And he was hairy all over. Who's red and who's hairy? Now, I'm nowhere near hairy. I can't find anybody that looks like me that's really hairy. There's only certain people in this world that's really, really hairy on their back everywhere. I'm not trying to clown you guys. This is just prophecy. This is Bible. And who turns red? Okay? Verse 29.
Genesis chapter 25, verse 29. And Jacob saw a pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
So Edom, the tabernacles of Edom in Psalms 83 and 6. So Edom is your so-called red man, which is the white man. And it tells you right here, when he came from the field from hunting, Jacob was cooking, and he said, hey, I'm about to die. I need some of that red meat. Before you cook it, give me the red meat. And when you read the story, Jacob was like, nah, I'm not going to give you the red meat because I'm not going to have that on my hands. But Esau was like, give me red meat. I want it. I'm about to die. Who loves red meat? It's simple, you guys. Let's break down the Ishmaelites. So Psalms 83 and 6 says, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab. All right, let's break. So anybody that got your Josephus, I should have told you earlier. But we're going to go to the Josephus real fast to show you real quick who the Ishmaelites is, of the Ishmaelites of Moab. Josephus, okay, and go to book 13. And we're going to go to verse 5. So Josephus, the Antiquities of the Jews. Josephus, the Antiquities of the Jews, book 13. and we're going to go to verse 5, the middle paragraph of verse 5. I just give you guys the information. You can go back on your own. I will wait, but we're getting close to time. So Josephus and Antiquities of the Jews, book 13, chapter 13. So book 13, chapter 13, verse 5. So book 13, chapter 13, verse 5 in the middle of the paragraph of verse 5. Read it.
He also overcame the Arabians, such as the Moabites and the Galadeanites, and made them bring tribute.
So I just took that one part out, but it's speaking of, and Josephus is reading right here. He said, and he also overcame the Arabians, such as the Moabites and the Giladites. So it lets you know who the Arabians is, which is the Moabites and the Giladites. These people are Arabians. So Ishmael and the Moabites, so the Ishmaelites of Moab is talking about your Arabs. Okay? Next, the Hagarenes. So Psalms 83 and 6 says the tabernacles of Edom, which is so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, which is your Arabs, and the Hagarenes. All right? The Hagarenes is, Hagar is Ishmael's mom. So if Ishmael is the Arabs, the Hagarenes are Ishmael's brothers, which are the other part of the Arabs. That's why when you look to the Middle East, you have different sections of the Palestinian and the Arab people. You'd be like, they all look alike. They all the same, but no, they not. They different sections. And that's why it says the Hagarenes, because it's different sections. But all these people, along with Edom, came together along with the Hamitic family, which is the Africans, because that's where the so-called a lot of Israel got divided from that area. So when you have Edom, so-called white man, Ishmaelites, which are Arabs, and then your Hamitic families, which are the Africans, now when you put those together, that easy could tell you who the 12 tribes of Israel is. Anybody outside of them and anybody else. So anybody outside of them, okay, and then anybody outside this world that has never been in slavery. Look at your high powers. Your Chinese people, they run the world. They got their own nation. They ain't in slavery. Your Russians. Okay? So all these people, when you put them together with these people, they are not Israel. Okay? And we're going to break it down. Go to verse 12. We got about 15 minutes left. Psalms 83 and 12. So now that we know who Edom is, the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, let's get a little more deeper into it. Verse 12.
Psalms 83 verse 12. Who said, let us take ourselves the house of the Most High in possession?
So when they cut us off, these people said, let us take the houses of Ahiah in possession. What does that mean? Let's cut them off and take them away from their heritage so they don't know who they are. And then let's put them into slavery. When it says, let's take ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession, that means we're going to take his possession and take it and make it ours. So let's put them in slavery. All right, let us take ourselves the houses of the Ahiah in possession. Okay, so who was taken into slavery? That's what it just said. Who said, let us take ourselves the houses of the Most High in possession? So once they cut these people off from knowing who they were, cut them off from being a nation, now they took them into slavery. Okay, so like I said earlier, so if your nation isn't in some way of form in slavery, then you're not Israel. Because the slavery that happened back in the day is still some type of mental, some type of form of slavery still going on. So if your nation had slavery back then, it's still going through some type of slavery. Okay? So if you think about it, if your nation don't have slavery involved to their title, they're not Israel. All right? But if you're a possession of someone, then you're Israel. So if you think about it, you like Judah. I'm in America. This ain't our land. You're in possession. Gad, so-called Native Americans. This ain't our land. They took it from us. This ain't our. You're definitely in possession. They took it from you. I already talked about Issachar, so-called Mexicans. They can't even come over here. They can't even cross They can't even cross their own border. Break down the word slavery in Google. Google slavery, you guys. That way you can see what I'm reading. Google the word slavery. And right when you Google the word slavery, the very first thing, it shows you kind of like a picture. We're reading that part right there before it goes to Wikipedia. Read what it says.
Slavery is legal or economic system under which people are treated as property.
So when you go to Google, it says slavery is legal. Because they still think like that. You got to understand, slaves that they brought into these lands was property. Go ahead.
Though laws and systems vary, as property, slaves may be bought and sold. Slaves can be held from the time of their capture, purchase, or birth, and deprived of all the right to leave, to refuse to work, or to demand compensation.
Don't you ask for higher pay? You better not ask for no raise. You know what I mean? And then it says, and deprived of the right to leave. So you can't even leave. You stuck. Once you get here, a lot of y'all can't even leave. That's why when you look at it now, this the way the system is, a lot of Judah can't even leave America because of some type of debt or something. They can't even leave. And you better not refuse to work. But back to Issachar, so-called Mexicans, they can't even leave their own country. They can't even cross the border. And then when they do get over here, and they find and America finds out they working, what they do? They get rid of it, ship them right back on over there. They don't even got the right to work. So you can't say that all the Judah is all black. All these people are under these conditions. Okay? And I'm going to name them off real quick. People who are still under these slave rules today. Alright? Your so-called Negroes, which is Judah. Your Puerto Ricans, which is Ephraim. And y'all can do the research on it. And you know what? Actually, next Friday, I'm going to do a lesson on the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm going to just continue on what we're talking about. So your Puerto Ricans is Ephraim. Cubans is Manasseh. Your Jamaicans or your West Indies is Benjamin. Your Mexicans is Issachar. Your Haitians is Levi. Hawaiian Samoans is Naphtali. Seminole Indians is Reuben. Your Colombians is Zebulun. Brazil, Argentina is Asher. And your Dominicans is Simeon. And your North American Indians is Gad. And I know I went through that kind of fast, but next week what I'll do is we'll just break down the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm going to go through each single one and show you how and why they're the 12 tribes. I'm going to show you, like we showed you tonight. So we already got Judah out the way, so we only got the other 11. Tonight we went into proof that Judah, is the Negroes. So next week I'll do the same thing how we did Judah on the other 11 tribes. Go back to Ezekiel 37:12 and close this out. So it says anybody that's in possession is a slave. So Psalms 83 tells you that these people were cut off and then they was taken into possession. Okay? Ezekiel 37:12.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Power, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel.
So it tells you, I'm going to bring you back home. Right now, you're not in the land of Israel. You see how you got to really read this to put it together? He says, I'm going to open up your grave and bring you into the land of Israel. So that lets you know that the people that are residing in Israel right now are not the true people. But then they allow to tell you right now that the people that are in Israel are the true Jews. No, they are Jewish. Jewish and Jews are two different people. Just like a red car or a reddish car. Okay? It's not the same. Alright? But he says, I'm going to open up your graves and bring you back into Israel. Because y'all not here right now. Verse 13.
And you shall know that I am the Most High Power, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves.
Alright, let's go to Jeremiah 8:1. So these fake people that's sitting in Israel right now, Revelations 2:9 tells you right now that those people are liars. Like I said, they put the title Jewish. They took the true Jews, they cut you off, took away your heritage, put you into slavery, and then took what was yours. You see how they did it? They seen the true Jews, the true people of the Most High, they had it all. They were the true people. So they said, we're going to get rid of them, cut them off to where they don't know who they are, and then we gonna claim to be them. We gonna take what's theirs, and we just gonna add the ish at the end of our title. So we're Jewish instead of Jews. We're something like them, but we're not them, but we're something like them because we took what was theirs. Jeremiah 8:1.
Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 1. At that time, said the Most High, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves.
So this is the point of restoration of Israel. All right, remember I told you that it was talking about the restoration of Israel. This is the restoring of Israel right here, bringing these bones out of the graves. Isaiah 64:14. But you know, not only will these bones live, so once these bones are brought out of the grave and they woke back up, that the restoration period, once we're restored, not only are we going to live, but we're going to flourish. So not only will we live and become a mighty army, a mighty force, but we're going to flourish. And that's what they're scared of. They know once we wake up and find this truth, there ain't no stopping him. You can't tell him nothing now. We can't lie to him no more and trick him and deceive him. No, all he's going to do is flourish and grow. Isaiah 64:14.
64 and 14?
Isaiah 66:14. Sorry about that. Isaiah 66:14.
Isaiah chapter 66 verse 14. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like a herb, and the hand of the Most High shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies.
So the indignation, his wrath towards the enemy. So once you flourish, they gon' not only will the servants of the Most High know this is coming from the hand of the Most High, but the enemies are going to know too. So when the enemy see you growing in first, they be like, man, what's going on with homie right there? Especially if you at work, especially if you've been working at a company for like 5-6 years, and they see a change in you, and they see you flourishing, but in the wrong direction. They're like, hey, we gotta get rid of him, man. He gonna. Before you know it, he gonna wake the rest of these bones up, and they're gonna be a mighty force in here. They don't want to see it, you guys, because they know we gonna flourish. All right, verse 4. Oh no, let's go back to where's we at? Oh, go back to Jeremiah 8:1. We was at 8:1. Let's go to 8:3. So 8:1 talked about how the bones were gonna come back together. I just took you to a precept to show you once they do come back together, you're gonna flourish like a herb. 8:3.
Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 3. And the death shall be chosen rather than the life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family.
So you remember I said earlier, a lot of people, they choose to stay in the wicked ways. They love being dry bones. So it tells you right here, and the death shall be chosen rather than life by the residue of the remain of this evil family. So it's talking about Israel. So that's why it says all Israel ain't gonna be saved. Only a third of Israel will be saved, because a lot of them are going to continue to choose this, to keep the dead life rather than the light life with the Most High. Go ahead.
Which remain in all the places whither I have driven them, said the Most High of hosts.
So they're going to be, you hear that? So this is another precept to let you know that he wants us to get out of here. Once you wake up and you find out who you is, he wants you to make your way back home sooner or later. That's why he says the children will be back in the land of Israel. But right here he just says, but those that rather stay dead and they want to remain with this evil family, they will remain in all the places where I have driven them. So all the places I have scattered Israel to become slaves, those people that want to stay there are going to stay there. But the true people that wake up, they're going to find their way back to Zion. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 8 verse 4. Moreover, thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Most High Power, shall they fall and not arise? Shall he turn away and not return?
So he ain't gonna return home? Y'all just gonna stay there and rotting out? I'm telling y'all to find the light, which is the Messiah, and return home. Verse 5.
Why then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back by the perpetual backsliding?
They just keep backsliding no matter what. They just keep sliding. They might look like they come in, but they just on that slippery slope. They just keep sliding. Go ahead.
They hold fast deceit. They refuse to return.
They refuse. There's so many people. I bet you right now you can go out tomorrow and do a survey just with friends and family and talk to 200 of them and talk to them and tell them that sooner or later we're going to have to get out of America. You won't get one person that's going to agree with you on that. They refuse. They refuse to leave this place. Master got it set up good here. We get food stamps. I get a job. I get paid. Master, I'm taken care of. Why am I going to go somewhere where I don't know how it is? Master told me that it's bad in other places. If I go back east to the Middle East, or if I go to Africa somewhere in that, Master told me I'm going to get Ebola or something. Or Master told me if I go to the Middle East, they might, the Taliban going to get me. You know what I'm saying? So they got you scared to go back home. ISIS, Taliban, war in Syria, Gaza. When you think of big, people like, man, I ain't going back there. There's too much going on. So they set it up, a slavery, mental slavery, to where you want to stay in America under Master's orders. Ezekiel 37:14. You got to understand, just because they don't have that iron yoke on your neck still, doesn't mean you're out of slavery. You're still in slavery. Like John Boy say, if you're not out of slavery, so you go to somebody tomorrow and be like, man, you know you're still in slavery. It's just mental. Man, I ain't slavery, man. We got this. Okay, well, stop paying rent then. See what happens. Don't pay rent this month. Okay? Don't pay this rent this month and next month and see what happens. Okay? Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 14. And shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place in your own, and I shall place you in your own land. Then ye shall know that I, the Most High, have spoken it and performed it, saith the Most High.
So it says, now once you find this truth and the breath is put back in you and you're no longer a dry bone, the spirit, I'll put my spirit in you and you shall live. And once I do that, I'm going to put you back in your own land. Right now it seems bleak, huh? When we say, hey, we know we got to get back east. It seems kind of hard, huh? It seems bleak because we don't know nothing back east. We don't know where we're going to be living. We don't know nothing. It's like, how you just going to leave America and go back to Cairo or somewhere like that and you just got to restart? But he says, hey, I'm going to put my spirit in you to where you live, and I shall place you in your own land. All right, not America. And once I place you in your own land, you shall know that I, the Most High, have spoken it and performed it. So once in a couple of years, once we're back east and we be like, man, we're here, you're going to be like, the only way we could have made it here is the Most High. You know he performed this miracle. Because right now it seems bleak to us. We don't know how we going to make it happen. But he said in verse 14, once I put that spirit in you, put you back in your own land, you're going to know I performed those duties. Ezekiel 36:27. So don't be scared. Once you start finding this truth and you realize you got to leave America, don't be one of those people that know the truth and be like, well, I know it's bad back in those countries. No. Have the faith in the Most High and know he's going to perform miracles to get you where you got to go so you can be out of harm's way when he bring no fierce wrath against America. He said he's bringing it, you guys. And he don't care who you is. If you here, there ain't no rapture. That's another lie. Churches teach you, yes, we know the Bible talks bad about these places, and when he comes, there's going to be a rapture for his people. He's going to protect you. No, it ain't. So you telling me all of us in here, we follow Christ, the Messiah, the Messiah. So if the rapture is so if he came right now, you telling me it's just going to skip over this apartment and hit all the rest of the buildings? No, I'm going to take the whole building out. And if you didn't hearken to me spiritually and get out of there, so be it. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 27. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them.
All right, go to Ezekiel 39:29. We got like 5 minutes. So he says, once I put my spirit in you, I'm going to cause you to walk in my statutes and my judgments. So once my spirit is put in you, this is how you become alive again. Remember, we're talking about the dry bones. So in order for you to become alive again, the prophecy has gotten in you. Okay, now the spirit is in you. Now you turn from following those laws and those commandments, which is from dry bones, so you're dead. Now you start following the true laws and commandments. Now you're alive. Now once you follow his laws and commandments, because his laws teach you how to do everything. His laws teach you how to follow his holy days. Okay, which teaches you how to save your soul. Salvation is in those holy days. If you want salvation, you got to follow his holy days. 39:29.
Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 29. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Most High Power.
All right, now let's go back to Ezekiel 37 and let's close them out. Ezekiel, we're at, let's go to 23. Ezekiel 37 and 23. So if you're not following the laws and the commandments of the Most High, then you don't have the spirit of Ahia. That's just point blank. If you're not following His laws and His commandments, you don't have the spirit that He's talking about. Okay, that's simple, you guys. I mean, I'm not writing this; it's right here. Okay. So if you want the spirit of the Most High and you want to have salvation when Judgment Day comes, you better start following His laws and commandments. I don't care what a church tells you, because the churches are under that doctrine where they tell you don't have to follow the laws no more. It's retarded, you guys. Ezekiel 37 and 23.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any other transgressions, but I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power.
So He says, once I wake up these dry bones, y'all are my people, and I'll be your God. It ain't all these other guys. No, I am the power, which is Ahia, for a specific group of people. And then anybody else that wants to be a part of this group, you got to believe this truth that we're talking about right here. Okay? 24.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 24. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes and do them.
Let's pause on this for like 10 seconds. Let's pay attention to this precept. So it says, and David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall have one shepherd. So how is it you have all these religions? He said one. He didn't say I'm going to bring in many shepherds. He said one. That means there's one doctrine. Right? That's simple, you guys. So if you following all these religions, something's wrong, you guys. Those are man-made. But he says one shepherd, which is one doctrine. Verse 25.
Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them, and it shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever.
Okay. So he says he's going to put David his shepherd, which is one. All right. One shepherd. Now from David, so he put David as the one shepherd. Like I say, he didn't come and say, all right, I'm going to make many shepherds. No, he made David the one shepherd so David can rebuild the house of Israel. And then the bloodline passes right on to who? The Messiah. So that's why it says right here, moreover, I will make my covenant of peace with them. The covenant of peace in Ezekiel 37:26 is talking about the Messiah. Let's go to Hebrews 13 and 20. So he made David the one shepherd. All right. And he kept the one shepherd to go through the bloodline until the Messiah came. So this is how you know it's only one doctrine, because that same one shepherd transferred over into the Messiah, his bloodline. He didn't make many shepherds. So all these different religions is false. If you're following the religion, listen. Listen, just research it. Do your homework. I can't bash you no more. Only thing I can say is if you follow some type of religion, just research your religion. It's all there, you guys. If you research it, it's right there. And if you still continue to follow it after that, then I don't know. Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 20. Now the Most High power of peace, that brought again from the dead our power, Yeshua, that great shepherd of the sheep, through the blood of the everlasting covenant.
So the everlasting covenant, that covenant of peace, is from the Messiah, who is the great shepherd. He's the great shepherd. So David was that one shepherd, and then once the Messiah came, he was that great shepherd that was pushing that same word that David was pushing. Okay? So we'll close it out right there. So you have to understand, you guys, the dry bones that's been speaking of in Ezekiel, this is when you get your numbers. So when you read the Bible and you see that the Bible says only a third of Israel would be saved, this is why. Because when you break down the dry bones in Ezekiel, 85% of Israel don't even know they're Israel. So if they don't know that they're Israel, how can they ever wake up through this prophecy that's been talked about in Ezekiel 37? The prophecy that Ezekiel is talking about, he's specifically talking to a group of people so they can hear and wake up and become this mighty force and take down the enemy. But the people don't know who they are. Israel don't know who they are. So the number that the so-called white man has done on Israel in Psalms 83, they done a great number to keep our people down. So that's why you have to, the people that do wake up, you have to do double work, triple work. You have to work harder because it's not many of us. So once you do wake up and you start prophesying and speaking, you got to be on it full time because you have to make up for the next man. It's like double time at work, overtime. You're working overtime because the company might be short people or something, whatever. There's a lot of reasons why companies run overtime, but we are in overtime because we're short-handed. It's like Iron Man football. Y'all heard of Iron Man football? Iron Man football, man, we only got 17 people. Everybody going both ways today. You don't come off the field. The only time you come off the field is a timeout or a halftime. So that's kind of how our game is. It's a spiritual battle. We're in overtime, you guys. It's Iron Man game. We don't got no help. All right. That's why when you go out and you try to reach out to other brothers to come help you in this war, they already picked their side. They already picked their side, and it's sad, you guys, because majority of your friends and family are on the other side in the spiritual battle. And when you really think at it, you start saying, "Man, you the enemy. What I gotta do to hurry up and help you come over here?" But it's just how it is. So that's why when you break down the 10 Commandments, yeah, I know you was born through your mother and father flesh, and you got fleshly brothers and sisters. But the 10 Commandments, when it says honor your mother and father, it's talking about the Most High, Ahaya, and Rawak, the mother. It's talking about honoring them through the Spirit. The Most High could care less about your flesh. The only reason why he cares about that body, because the body is dead to him. Let me explain it to you. The body's dead and he cares about the spirit. But the only reason why he cares about that body, because he has to rise that same body up. When he comes for judgment day, and if you're picked, you're not going to get a new body. It's going to be the same one. Okay? So that's the only reason why he's concerned with it. And you reuse it again. Okay, but to him right now, while you're walking in the flesh, that body's nothing to him, and people have to realize that. All right, so we'll go ahead and close it out. We'll open up for questions like always. I'd like to say shalom, all praises to the Most High, and thank Brother CJ for the reading tonight. I know I kind of put him on the spot, but we always appreciate the brothers anytime they put in the work. Shalom.